Hello and welcome to the Breath of Life. I'm Todd. As always, super grateful that you're here to join me. On today's show, I want to talk about what it means to follow God's law. Now, before I begin, as a reminder, I found Jesus December 30th of 2025. So today's March 13th. Do the math. Um, Prior to that, the way that I was wired was at the anything that life put in front of me that I had to do. The simple fact that I had to do it would make me not want to do it. Little independence, rebellious, human nature. I had had a spiritual awakening May 26th of 2019. The only piece that was missing was Jesus, which is kind of like saying, "Oh yeah, I got a hamburger, but it was just missing the meat." Um, but when I did have that one, um, I I was introduced to God, the Father, and now granted, it led me on a path, and I started looking at all these different theologies and all this stuff. But that's a story for another time. Um, but one thing that I had realized during that era. So it was May 26th of 2019. I basically wind up taking like a year off of work, all kinds of things. I went to China, for, lived in an 800-year-old temple for 30 days, training with Shaolin warrior Buddhist monks, read every philosophy and theology, minus the New Testament. Get into that later. Um, Basically, I thought that I knew everything about Jesus because of the culture. So I just didn't even have an interest to look. Um, but so that was May 26th of 2019. I take all this time off and then boom, March 2020, right? So remember COVID. So now everything shut down. So when people were like 3 or 4 months into that shutdown, I already had like 9 months of like not working and not having responsibility. And one of the things I realized at that time was because I fell into a deep depression again, not working. And the revelation that I had then was that it's not about wanting a job, it's about needing a job, needing purpose. I used to think that I wanted to make enough money so that I can have $2 million cash in the bank account and never have to worry about money again. And then I can just do whatever I want, which would just kind of be nothing. I thought that's what I wanted. After having a lot of time of doing nothing, I realized this is not good for me. It's not good for any of us. We all need purpose. We need something to do. That's kind of one of the good qualities of work is there's responsibilities, you have to do them. It gives you a sense of accomplishment and purpose, so you're not just floating around doing nothing. So at that time, I realized I was like, oh, wow. I kind of want any job right now. I just want to do something literally for my own mental health. So I had that revelation already. But that still doesn't mean I don't have that pre-wiring instinct of you're going to tell me how to do that just because like you're telling me I have to. Ah, it's a thing. I just hate being told what to do. Um, but here's here's the beauty of rules and laws. And an example I'm going to use is I'll just use a family. All right, husband, wife, 2 kids. Whatever your role is, you're the husband, you're the wife, whatever. At times, no matter who the family is, there are always going to be times where your family is going to feel like a ball and chain, like a cage, because you're always there's people that rely on you. If you're a wife, you got kids and a husband relying on you. If you're the husband, you have the wife and the kids relying on you. And so there's a lot of your own time, effort, and energy spent on other people. And it's totally normal to feel like I don't want to do this right now. You know, I'd actually like some me time. Just want to get away for a little bit and I just need some me time, you know? There's nothing wrong with that. Um, but when we have those feelings, the perspective I want to give you is this, guys. 48 years old, single, no kids. I've only had like 3 relationships in my life. Um, so I've basically spent the majority of my life single. The older you get, to a degree, the lonelier it gets. Now, I will say, after I found Jesus, like I am complete. I'm full. I'm good. I have everything I need emotionally, spiritually. By the grace of God, I've got that. It's nothing I did. It's a blessing. But the thing about the responsibility to the spouse and the kids versus the single guy, right? The grass is always greener. When it's just you, what you don't have are witnesses. When I'm living alone, no one knows what I'm up to. And as being an addict for 25 years, roughly, very, very, very dark times. And because when you don't have a witness around you, they say that idle time is the devil's playground. And that's true. But with no one around you, that's an easy place for the devil to start playing his tricks. One of the beauties of having the family that you're responsible for, that you're a steward of, is that although at times it feels cagey, it feels like it's weighing you down, the other purpose it's serving is guardrails. That cage that you're in, or that you feel like you're in at times, that's what's keeping you safe. Keeps you from veering. I'm not saying that you don't veer, and I'm just saying that the point I'm trying to make, if I'm landing the plane, is don't take the greatest blessings in your life and turn them into a prison sentence. Balls and chains. These are your greatest blessings coming from a guy who doesn't have them. So when you've got a full day of got to do laundry and cleaning and dishes and picking up and this and that, you know, we use this word chores. Literally, the definition of chore. I don't have it in front of me, but it's something that like I got to do that really serves no purpose. There's no value in doing laundry. There's no value in doing dishes. There's no value in cleaning the floors, changing the sheets. There's no value in getting the clothes out of the dryer quickly and not having to iron them and getting them on their hangers. All these things seem like just, we call them chores. Well, when I lived in China, again for 30 days in an 800-year-old temple, I was training with Shaolin warrior Buddhist monks for 7 hours a day in Kung Fu, Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation. And I'm also training with students from all over the world, all different age groups, and from everywhere. And every morning, we had to line up at 5:30 a.m. You go to line up, and then after lineup, you do what's called temple duty. Everyone had a responsibility, and they would change it every week, right? So for 1 week, whatever your responsibility is, that's what you can do for the week. Next week, new responsibility. What that taught me was the value of temple duty. Taking time every single day. Now, when we did it, it was somewhere between like 30 and 45 minutes, but even 10, 15 minutes a day in the morning, you just one area and you just do some temple duty. It brings a sense of discipline and pride in your temple. And it also showed me the value of when a mother, a father, a family member is helping around the house, right? With any of the household stuff, right? I'm not going to call them chores anymore. But the thing is, you don't have to do the laundry. You don't have to do the dishes. You don't got to clean the floors. You don't got to clean the bathroom. You don't have to do anything. We look at it like that. We look at, oh, we have to, right? The only reason why because I have to do it, I don't want to do it. And there's no value, no purpose, right? But here's the thing. When I'm doing laundry, you know who I'm doing it for? For me. When I clean my dishes, it's for me. When I cook food, it's me. When you're doing it for your family, don't look at it as this is something I have to do. Look at it as this is something I get to do. Yeah, you're not going to get any awards for it. Your kids aren't going to jump up and down and say how great you are. But one day those kids are going to be gone. They're not going to be in the house anymore. And you'd give anything to do their laundry again, to cook for them. You know how it is, how your parents are when you come back home for whatever, holidays, whatever. Does your mom allow you to not eat a cooked meal? She has to cook for you. She probably wants to do your laundry too. Oh, give me your clothes, right? They're dying to do things for you because they don't have that opportunity anymore. God forbid something happened to you. Medical condition, some kind of accident. Let's say you lost the ability to use your arms. Now you can't help your husband or wife with the dishes. Now you can't help your husband or wife with the laundry. Now you can't help with cleaning. How are you going to feel? You're going to feel good. You're going to be like, oof, I hated doing those chores anyway. So you think you're going to enjoy a moment of that? That you no longer have those activities to do? Or are you going to feel worthless? I can't support my family. I don't have enough in me to even help out my family with the basics. and you'd hate yourself for it. And you'd fall into a depression because I have no value. You see what I'm saying? So, really, at the core of what I'm talking about here, and we started out, what does it mean to follow God's law? God's law is not about, at the end of the day, what Jesus taught us and continues to teach us. It's all about what's actually in your heart. If you're doing all of your temple duties and you're resentful, mad, I don't want to do this right now. No one appreciates what I do, but you do it, guess what? That's not, that's misery. Jesus is teaching us how to live happily with peace. So if you're just doing it and you're like, that's not in your heart. And that's where the judgment is. This is where the God's law comes from. It's not about the action that you're doing. It's about what's going on in your heart as you're doing it. If you feel obligated to do something and that's why you're doing it, that's not love. That's not what we're taught. And that's why Jesus says that you go to the way you go to heaven is not by your acts, not by what you're doing, but it's about what's in your heart. Because anybody can pray X amount of times a day, go to church or a temple or a synagogue or whatever X amount of times. They can do all of these actions. But if what's in their heart isn't pure and it's not coming from a place of love, those actions mean nothing. Now, you would think, I did at least, I thought prior to finding Jesus that like rules, laws, can't do this, can't do that. Already there, I got my defenses up. But just like the family that can feel at times that it's stopping you from doing what you want to do, but it's really the best thing for you. That's what the laws are. So take the 10 Commandments, for example, right? This is God gave this to Moses to be like, yo, this is how my children need to live. These are the laws. You are made in my image. That means that you will love me. You're not going to kill. You're not going to steal. You're not going to go after your neighbor's wife. You're not going to covet material things that your neighbors have, right? These are just general rules that I don't think I've ever met anyone that looks at those and goes, nah, how hard is it not to kill? I haven't killed anyone yet, so pretty easy to lie, cheat, and steal, though. But the point is that if you can't look at those laws and go, yeah, it doesn't feel right. It just does. Like, you know it inherently. Where do morals come from? But then I mean, literally, as God is giving Moses the Ten Commandments. And remember, Moses is on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. What's happening? His people are making a golden calf to worship. He's going to talk to God, the creator, who led them out of Egypt, split the Red Sea, going to get the commandments from him. And they're like, hey, make a golden cow, right? So when Jesus comes around, God can't thank you enough for that. The law was no longer written on stone. The law is now written in our hearts. That's why you can just feel it. You feel it. You know when you're doing something you're not supposed to do. You know it inherently. Same way you know if you're not doing something that you're supposed to do. You just know it. Because the law has been written in our heart. I know for me, I'm pretty sure I speak for a lot of people who experience this, but we'll just leave it at me for now. um, as I started reading the Bible and listening to sermons and really diving in, what I have found is that my life is so much easier. There's no weight. There's no hating myself. There's no feeling of missing something. What's the point? What am I doing? I don't want to do this anymore. Every day is just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I just feel like I'm just not going anywhere. And like that feeling, think you know what I'm talking about? By having these rules and laws, for example, lust. Lust is a big one. By the way, lust is not just sexual. I lusted for substances. It's getting physical pleasure right here, right now. A little bit of bliss on tap kind of action. That's lust. Now, I know for me that substances are not good for me. In the moment, in the moment, it'll take me high. But anytime you are giving yourself an artificial high, well, it's got to balance out, right? So, balance even is a great place to be. I don't want to peak high. I don't want to peak low. I like even keeled. That's what I like. But to artificially, you know how it is? If you're going to drink too much tonight, how are you going to feel tomorrow? One of my favorite sayings is drinking is borrowing tomorrow's happiness today. So when it comes to lust, you know, for me personally, um, I am now catching the thought because that's how it starts. And this come Johnny Chang actually said this. He said all sins, they start as a thought, then they manifest in like a physical desire, and then we do an action. So if I see a woman that I'm attracted to, my instant thought is sexual. It is. I look at every woman through a sexual perspective. How hot are you? Like that's what my brain does. But I catch it now. Now, as soon as that thought comes in, I'm like, no, no, no. That is my sister. The feelings of lust, they're basically unhealthy. How hard is it to be married while you're lusting for other people? It'll be miserable. So I catch a thought. I'm like, nope. And just stop thinking about it and go, that's my sister. And I see her as a child of God, not as my sexual plaything. So these rules, it's not like going to school where it's like, if you're going to go into the hallway, if you're going to go to the bathroom, you need a hallway pass. You got to raise your hand to go to the bathroom. It's not like these stupid, arbitrary, nitpicky little rules, right? Man did that, by the way. Man did that. Look at any religion right now, any of them, Christianity included. There are rules and laws that human beings made up to be pious, holier than thou. That's not God's law. I follow God's law. I got one boss, and that's God. That's it. Doesn't matter what other humans think of me, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. I'm following God's law. And that makes my life very easy. Very. Let me rephrase. It gives my life a sense of ease and lightheartedness that I've never experienced before. Because how many times are you second guessing yourself? Should I do this? Should I do that? I did this in the past and I'm regretting that. And what if this happens in the future? And blah, 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 blah. When you're in that space, that's torture. Torture. I know I spent 47 years and 10 months in that space. I get it. But when there are no questions, I know what sins are. I know that every human being, we're sinful creatures. We are not good. Any goodness that comes into our world that we experience, even if we're one of the main characters in what's happening, it's not us that did it. It's by the grace of God. His will is what even put us in a place of even being able to recognize that this is amazing, or a sense of accomplishment, or feeling of helping somebody. These are things that we take as if like they're ours. We did it. We did it. We did it. Ooh, look at me. I'm a good person. It's actually easier to live knowing that you're not good. What's the only thing that's good is God. That pure good, pure love. We cannot be that. We can't. But we're not supposed to be. That's not his design. He made us. Think about a father, a good father, a father that loves their child, a mother that loves their child. Maybe you don't have kids. Maybe you have a dog. Whatever. I have a dog. Think about how much you love your kids, your dog, or your parents, whatever. Think about how much you love them. Nah, we're going to stick with the parent-child role. As much as you love your children and you would put your life on the line for them and do anything and everything and all that stuff, your love for your child doesn't even come close to the love God has for us. Why? Because he's perfect. Perfect goodness, perfect love. His love is purely unconditional. We can't even fathom that. Listen, we can't even fathom the distance from the earth to the moon. Your brain can't fathom that, let alone the distance from the earth to Mars, earth to Jupiter, our solar system, our galaxy, all the other galaxies in the universe. You can't comprehend that. None of us can. What makes you think you can comprehend God? God's love. What we can comprehend, though, is Jesus, the Lord in human form. I can relate to a human being. That's easy. I know humans. I'm one. So if you're new to the journey, been in the journey for a long time, and have kind of fallen off a little bit, or you hear the name Jesus and you're repulsed, no matter where you are. I would say that if anything that I said makes sense, that made you go, I'd, it'd mean the world to me if you left a comment, told me what that thing is, or even if you disagree with me, put that in the comment too. I'm just here to talk about my experience, share it with as many people as possible, because I would love for everyone to be able to feel what I feel and what other followers of Jesus feel. It really is the missing ingredient, the missing piece. Don't be afraid of the rules. He already knows that you're not going to be perfect. You're not expected to be. He knows you're going to fall off. And again, that's why he soaked up all of the sin of all mankind, past, present, future, all the stuff that we do. Because back in the day, before Jesus, if you sinned, you know what the payment was? You had to sacrifice an animal. Philip Anthony Mitchell said it the best. When Jesus died on the cross, he was the final sacrificial lamb. That was the last sacrifice needed, the last blood sacrifice that was needed to wash away our sins. So it's okay. You are going to mess up. As long as in your heart, when you realize, even if you have the thought, you have a thought and it's in your heart, you're like, Lord, I repent. Lord, I'm sorry. And that's it. You just recognize, you tell him you're sorry authentically. It's not just saying the words. And he knows what's in your heart. So there ain't no BS in him. And that's it. It's so good. It's so good. And I pray that everyone watching this can experience that. What would really help kind of spread this word. The way YouTube works is like, subscribe. It helps the algorithm. If you feel this needs to be heard by other people, that'd be amazing. And if you're feeling touched by the Holy Spirit, a share always means the world. Love you. All love. Love all. Praise God. Peace.